誰為愛世人願捨身？這禮物化作活存的心靈，幸福是接受和活出這禮物的真諦，教我學習愛到同時就如遇見主。人一生最如趕豔陽，縱使多耀眼，如若沒愛，彷彿天空阻隔了光線的障礙。請潔淨我心眼，長流着愛的恩泉，清似璀璨。
一個70幾歲嘅老人家，幾十年嚟喺窮人當中生活。
It was meant for the dogs, these bones, and we begged those bones, and that as our supper. But there was a lot of humor in it and a lot of laughter.
放棄收入係為咗照顧被社會遺棄嘅窮人。
The poor are our cross. They are people that we bear on our shoulders joyfully, not sadly.
佢總係帶住笑容，形容自己係世界上最快樂嘅人。
Well, I think it comes from inside. You know that you're doing the will of God.
佢係首位華人成為一個國際性修會嘅創辦人，但佢唔會自己居功。
It's God's work. It's not mine. It's just obedience to the Father.
佢嘅音樂感染咗好多人，就連一啲覺得教會沉悶嘅人，亦都被深深吸引。
I think that it's beautiful. Again, what a gift. I mean, it's just sort of flowing through him, and he pulls people around him, and they kind of orchestrate the ideas that he has. It turns into something really, really phenomenal.
Father Lung 係一位喺牙買加出生嘅華裔神父，佢擁有多個學位，本來喺大學任教，過住舒適嘅生活。但佢嘅良知令佢諗起被社會遺忘嘅窮人。佢爸爸喺佢細個嘅時候對佢嘅教誨，至少喺佢心裏面萌芽生長。
My father had told me that the poor had been forgotten, even in China, and that it's very necessary that we begin to understand that the poor are people with dignity and honor and so forth, and that we must make sure that we take care of them. He always said to me, Jamaican people are good people. It's just that they're poor and they can't help it.
當 Father Lung 睇見貧民窟裏面嘅人流離失所、失業、飽受飢餓同疾病煎熬，而政府就完全唔理佢哋，唔將佢哋當人看待。呢一切令佢諗翻起父母教佢要尊重窮人。佢意識到父母嘅教誨同耶穌真福八端嘅精神不謀而合。於是喺1980年 ，Father Lung 毅然離開本來所屬嘅修會。佢同2個有同樣理念嘅神父一齊嚟到牙買加首都京士頓嘅貧民窟生活，為當地嘅窮人提供免費服務。因為再冇收入，開始嘅時候生活非常困難。
When we started off, we lived on the roof of a lady in Jamaica. We had no place to live. And we had a lot of laughter and a lot of fun. Because you could not do this part-time. You either did it fully or not at all. And that became very, very clear to me. So I left the job, had nothing, no place, no home, no salary. Just 3 of us. Father Hayden, Father Brian, and myself. And we just simply sometimes used to lay down and watch the rain come down on us, and we'd be perfectly happy and so forth. And somehow the Lord took us through. So we used to have food that we used to pick up at the nearby restaurant, which would just be the chicken bones that are left. It was meant for the dogs, these bones, and we begged those bones. And we used those bones with a little pak choy and cooked our soup and had that as our supper. But there was a lot of humor in it and a lot of laughter. We knew very well that the Lord was not going to let us down.
雖然連自己食住都成問題，但佢哋不斷照顧同收留被遺棄、無家可歸嘅人，仲堅持唔收費。
We saw the wisdom of Jesus in that. You know, whatever you give freely. There's only one way of taking care of the poor is by you yourself not charging the poor. Once you begin to charge the poor, you begin to escalate the price and it becomes more and more costly. And so we decided no charge. And that free service really defines us very strongly as a community that must serve the poor and will serve the poor and the simplest and most forgotten and downtrodden of people.
靠住信德，佢哋一步一步捱過最艱難嘅日子，慢慢當地嘅人都被佢哋嘅無私奉獻感動。
Little by little, you see the hearts of people being moved to take care of us first of all, and then to take care of the poor people that we minister to. But it was quite amazing, the growth of our community, watching how the people's hearts opened up. It was like the hand of God placed on the hearts of people.
1981年，Father Lung 正式成立貧窮者傳教會，一個國際性嘅男性修會。佢哋嘅理念係喜樂咁侍奉世界上最少、最貧窮嘅兄弟姊妹，亦即係偕同十字架上嘅基督喜樂咁服務。
Well, it's an enigmatic principle to serve Christ on the cross joyfully. The cross itself gives you the pain and the sufferings of the people. The poor are our cross. They are people that we bear on our shoulders joyfully, not sadly. The fact that we have finally found in reality, in daily life, the expression of what is that cross that Jesus carried, which is in the poor. We have found that we love it. But when you begin to look at the poor and you look into their eyes, and they reach out for you and you reach out for them, and there's that tenderness between that person and yourself, that is really beauty, not the external and superficial appearances of things, but something that's much, much deeper than that. How love itself is best expressed in our willingness to suffer for each other.
要喺窮困、病弱、痛苦同被遺棄嘅人當中辛勞咁服務，又點可能成日保持喜樂？答案可以喺十字架上揾到。十字架上嘅基督布滿傷痕，係一個極為恐怖嘅影像，但偏偏呢個影像深深咁印喺人嘅心裏面，令人念念不忘。
That the most ugly and grotesque cannot be removed from our hearts or as an image in our souls. And you begin to realize it's because it's really beautiful. That this is love. That a man or God can love so much that he didn't care if he was exposed to the world in his desperation to save mankind from sin. So no matter what the disappointments might be, or struggles or difficulties, It's God's work. It's not mine. It's just obedience to the Father and walking in the footsteps of Jesus. So you feel a happiness within yourself. Though there might be storms and there might be earthquakes.
就係咁樣，由 Father Lung 當初一個決定開始，貧窮者傳教會喺牙買加開始咗6間免費收容中心。呢啲中心收容嘅人有小朋友、成人、長者，亦都有愛滋病患者。中心嘅住客大部分都有身體或者精神上嘅缺陷。到咗30幾年後嘅今日，修會已經有超過550位來自世界各地嘅修士，亦都喺牙買加以外嘅8個國家，共12個地區服務，包括海地、印度、肯亞、菲律賓、烏干達等等。貧窮者傳教會喺2015年正式獲梵蒂岡升格為教廷認可嘅修會。Father Lung 所有修士以及修會嘅支持者都非常欣慰。呢次 Father Lung 特別嚟到多倫多，同呢度嘅支持者一齊慶祝修會得到梵蒂岡嘅肯定。佢哋直接隸屬梵蒂岡，而唔屬於地方主教嘅管轄，俾佢哋有較大嘅自由去到唔同地區服務，並且受到各地方主教嘅承認。Phyllis 係 Father Lung 嘅表姐，多年嚟一直喺多倫多協助修會嘅工作。佢為 Father Lung 同修會感到驕傲。
For me, it's been a special privilege to have worked with the mission for the last 30 years. Father came up in the early years, one of his first trips to Toronto, to try and solicit help because he knew that a lot of Jamaicans and Chinese Jamaicans had migrated here. Well, certainly I'm very proud that a member of our family has been chosen by God for this mission, and a mission for the poor. To see that now the church has given their blessing on the order for the world.
近年西方國家嘅聖召有減少嘅跡象，但係貧窮者傳教會嘅聖召反而有增無減。
Men come and some go, but that's because of Christ. Precisely that spirituality of taking up the cross daily and following Him, that's very heavy. Going down each day, working with the poor and the homeless and destitute, that's very heavy. But you either love it or you don't. And I think the men who come to us and who stay are the ones who catch that vision, that we are to be Christ crucified for the people, in service of people and in service of the poor. We go to the poorest countries. We work with lepers, like in India, and some in Philippines. We work with not just a normal orphan, but the child that is disfigured, who's mentally retarded and can't walk, has no arms, blind or deaf. Those are the ones in which we find the wounded Christ, you know. But to touch the wound of Christ is the most important aspect of Christianity in our world today. To touch the wound of Christ and to see with the eyes of Christ the beauty that He saw in the lepers and the crippled. That's really the challenge for Christianity today.
喺天主教會裏面，集中服務貧苦大眾嘅修會為數唔少，但係貧窮者傳教會嘅特別之處，在於喺服務之餘，佢哋亦會花唔少時間喺音樂事工上面。Susan 係一位音樂創作人，佢本身亦有牙買加血統，好細個就已經聽過 Father Lung 同佢修會嘅事蹟。 佢認為修士對弱小者嘅愛同付出，就好似聖經裏面描述嘅寶貴珍珠一樣，世間罕有。
The work that they do is unbelievable in a way because it's so pure. It's uncomplicated, if you will. You know, it's just very simple. They go out and they meet these people who are starving, who are struggling with so many different things, disease, all sorts of things, but they just meet them exactly where they are, and they tend to them very simply and in love, and journey with them throughout their lives. And that's such a huge commitment of love. When do you see that kind of commitment? When do you see that sort of total giving over oneself to say, I'm going to walk with you no matter what, no matter how you are, no matter what your situation is, I'm going to be there for you till the end. I think it's incredible.
修會之所以開展音樂事工，係因為 Father Lung 由70年代開始創作咗好多歌曲。令人驚訝嘅係，佢根本冇接受過乜嘢音樂訓練，亦都唔識得彈奏任何樂器。對於同樣係音樂創作人嘅 Susan，Father Lung 俾咗佢極大啟發。
It speaks to me of such great faith, you know, to say, I have this idea and I believe in it. I believe in it because it's a gift from God and I'm going to take it as far as I can. And what a gift. I mean, it's just sort of flowing through him and he pulls people around him and they kind of orchestrate the ideas that he has. It turns into something really, really phenomenal.
當問到 Father Lung 到底係乜嘢驅使佢開始創作歌曲，佢嘅答案好簡單。
Well, I'm just a fun-loving Jamaican. Jamaican people are just fun-loving and they like to joke, they like music, they like theatre.
原來當年佢見到好多青年人覺得返聖堂好悶，於是佢就創作歌曲嚟吸引佢哋返嚟聖堂。呢個方法果然成功，於是佢就繼續以音樂作為福傳嘅工具，仲不時舉行一啲音樂會。
Part of it was also just that you wanted it to bring life to people and bring joy to people, evangelization. You're astonished when you see people who you would consider normally very, very, very secular, or you'd consider some of these kids just wild and crazy, no? And then you see them so respectfully listen to the story of Christ in music. So the music has become rather major in terms of the character of MOP. It's in the countries where we are at now, like in Uganda, Kenya, even in India, North and South India, Indonesia, they all use Jamaican music.
30幾年嚟，貧窮者傳教會嘅神父同修士無私咁照顧最有需要、最被社會忽略嘅窮人。雖然有唔少人欣賞佢哋，但亦有人將佢哋睇成係敵人。曾經有兩個喺牙買加嘅經歷，令Father Lung印象好深刻。
At one particular point, the public began to really pay attention to us when the government called us in and chastised us for taking photographs of very poor people and making it available to the press. And we were condemned as being traitors because the country was going in the route of tourism and being a very fancy resort area. We were going in the opposite direction of exposing the poverty of the people and the great suffering. I knew at that time that God was at work, and that was the Lord using the media to spread the good news of Christ. And the Jamaican public really backed us and said, these people must be taken care of. They're doing works that nobody else is doing.
另外一個經歷發生喺2005年，修會有兩個喺廚房裏面洗緊碗嘅修士誤中流彈身亡，但係喺傷痛當中，反而令佢哋有更大嘅領悟。
When the two brothers were martyred, There was tremendous sadness and tears, but not for a moment did I ever think of leaving the ghettos, which is so violent. And never did I think for a moment that we should decline work with the poorest of people in the ghettos. When we feel the pain, and we keep on going, that's really love. And I think that's what Christ was teaching us. So that the brothers manifest and give witness to that.
貧窮者傳教會重視每個弱小嘅生命，包括母胎之中嘅嬰兒。所以，當西方國家提出為牙買加提供經濟援助嘅時候，而條件係要牙買加將墮胎合法化，Father Lung就一再為維護生命發聲。
We know that God is a God of life, and we know that Satan hates human life. So once we set that as the broad principles of life, life is valuable, no matter what. But of course, in what is so-called the progressive nations, you're saying the quality of life is what really matters. Therefore, you must limit your family to no children, 1 child, 2 children, and everything else is excess. So that your child must have the very best in life. You must also have the very best in life. In the matter of abortion, that's the problem. People have bought into values in terms of quality of life that has really suffocated and killed many, many children in the womb.
經過一番祈禱，貧窮者傳教會決定開設一個中心，由修女照顧需要幫助嘅懷孕婦女。
In Jamaica, we started a sisterhood, and these sisters take in women who are pregnant and who might be considering abortion. So they live at our homes, and when the baby is born, we keep the babies, and the mothers might come back for the babies or not. Whatever, we're not putting any pressure on them. And the women themselves, they can live with us until they get a job.
隨住修女嘅人數增加，而家佢哋亦增設中心，收留同照顧被遺棄嘅殘疾兒童。服務咗窮人30多年後，Father Lung喺2014年宣告退休。貧窮者傳教會嘅事務由服務咗20多年嘅 Brother Anil 接管。同 Father Lung 合作多年 ，Brother Anil 一直覺得自己好似喺度輔助爸爸一樣。
I love him as my father. God has given him the vision to serve the poor. And I have to protect his vision as MOP, to spread his love, especially Christ's love. And his vision is to really serve the poor, bring Christ to the poor. So I have adopted that vision, and I respect him as my
father.Father Lung 的確將所有修士當做仔一樣咁照顧，唔單止帶領佢哋行跟隨基督成聖嘅路，而且仲喺路上面細心照顧佢哋。
I remember whenever he sees us sad, he will take us to the beach. Okay, brothers, are you tired today? Let us go to the beach. Brothers, are you feeling hot?Let us go to the Devon house for ice cream. So there was always seeking out for us what he can do for us.
即使而家 Brother Anil 喺修會裏面嘅職位高過 Father Lung， Brother Anil 仍然好尊敬同服從 Father Lung 嘅提點。
This is God's work, and God's works can be done in many ways.And the one way I can see is how I can serve the Lord is being faithful and really give myself, not so much to achieve what I want in my life, but give what I have. Founder has the greater vision than myself, and I have to respect his vision because it's given to him by God. I felt like it's a father and son working together, for greater glory of God.
當 Father Lung 回望過去，最值得佢懷念嘅係同 Brother Anil 同埋修會裏面所有兄弟相處嘅經歷。
The brothers are my greatest reward, and at the same time the greatest challenge, because we have so many nations, and learning to understand them. Also, you begin to understand the variety of gifts and temperaments and characters that you have in your hands.
30多年嚟，十字架上嘅基督一直係驅使 Father Lung 獻身服務窮人嘅動力。藉着為窮人服務，佢揾到喜樂嘅泉源同人生嘅使命。由20世紀開始，個人主義逐漸抬頭，唔少人傾向追求獨立自主，着眼於自我利益。Father Lung勉勵所有渴望尋找生命意義嘅人，無論對任何人都應該展示更大嘅慈悲，咁樣唔單止能夠令更多人受惠，亦都為生命發掘更多可能性。
黃麗婉簽女士係一位富於堅毅精神嘅長者，
佢唔單止爬得起身，佢繼續好有意志咁樣活落去，對生命咧一路繼續咁積極。
佢係真係一個好堅持嘅人嚟嘅，佢係即係唔怕困難嘅。
我都話天主安排我點就點咯，硬區區路我照行。
黃麗婉簽女士點樣喺經歷重大打擊之後重新振作起嚟呢？請唔好錯過呢一個星期嘅愛常傳。睇完呢一集嘅愛常傳，歡迎大家打我哋嘅熱線電話，分享一下你嘅感受或者係故事。同時都請收聽我哋逢星期六嘅電台節目《愛生命》，以及訂閱 Podcast。要購買天主教書籍同信仰靈修禮物，請嚟到我哋位於 Markham 嘅生命恩泉資源及媒體中心參觀選購。我哋下星期同樣時間再見，天主保佑。